everyone, Shaylee here. So it has been a long time since I did a video. It's been a full year. So a lot has happened. So I just wanted to jump on here real quick and just talk a little bit about fourth year and kind of our path to residency. Ethan has been in residency for I think 2 months now, and he's really enjoying it. So let's get started. So kind of all through medical school, we were told that fourth year was going to be really easy, and you always hear about, oh, the fourth years, they always get off early and stuff, and that definitely proved to be true. Fourth year was definitely a breath of fresh air after, 3 busy years of medical school. So, and the reason that it is a little bit easier is because there's a lot more time for electives. So Ethan got to kind of choose more of which rotations he was going to do and whatnot. There were, I think, 2 busy months throughout. I think it was at the very beginning of this year. And that was in the MICU, the medical ICU, and then the other one was on the wards, so just on the floors of the hospital. And but other than that, he pretty much got to pick and choose what he did. And so it's hard for me to even remember now, it was a while ago, but there were several rotations that were half days or just a couple hours a day, and so it was really, really nice. We were able to get a lot of family time in, and he was definitely around a lot more than like third year. So that was really, really nice. I mentioned I mentioned one of his sub-Is was in the MICU, and while on this, he actually decided that he really liked it. And so he still wanted to stick with the emergency medicine path, obviously. We were already kind of settled on that, but he's thinking that he wants to do a 2-year fellowship for critical care, which would allow him to work in medical ICU as well. So that's a little ways away now. So that's kind of the overview of the fourth year. Now at the beginning of fourth year is kind of when we were starting to think about residency and preparing for that. And I think it was I want to say August. So August of 2016. Ethan did one away rotation at an emergency medicine program nearby here in Chicago, and he really, really enjoyed it. He liked the people that he worked with. He enjoyed the program. He attended some of the lectures and some of the other groups, and he really, really enjoyed it. Now, normally, you try to do more than one away rotation, but especially since we had just had Declan, I didn't really want him, well, he didn't want it either, but we didn't really want him to be away for, a whole month, because it probably would have been, staying somewhere else in another state. So he just decided to do the one, and honestly, like for us, it was fine, and it all worked out, and thankfully it was a little bit further away. I think it took him like 45 minutes to drive there or something, but it was really a good option for us, and I'm just really happy that he didn't have to, be in a different city or state, for a whole month, because that would have been difficult with a 2-year-old and a newborn. So he started hearing back from residency programs about mid-October, and normally you start going on interviews in like November or so. Some people even like the end of October, but Ethan had his MICU rotation in November, which did not allow taking any time off for interviews and whatnot. So he actually did 11 interviews in December, and that is a lot to do in 1 month. He ended up hearing back from, I think, over 20 programs. We couldn't remember exactly how many, but I think it was over 20. He ended up going on 11 interviews. And so he actually ended up taking the whole month of December off of rotation. So he didn't have any rotations to do in December. He just had interviews, which ended up being super, super busy. We tried to schedule the interviews that were, located close together near the same time so that he could kind of kill two birds with one stone. So he was in Texas for I think a week, and then he flew to a couple other places, and then some of them he was able to drive to. But that was definitely a busy month, and it was also a really difficult month because all of us actually ended up getting really, really sick. And so I was home with sick kids throwing up. And Ethan was actually, away, and he actually got sick when he was on the road. So that was not fun for him. It was a really difficult time. But honestly, at least for us, it still worked out fine. And we probably, if we had to do it over again, we would probably schedule a little bit more into January. But it was really nice to kind of get it done and over with, and then we were able to enjoy Christmas together and not think about him traveling anymore and whatnot. So that was that. So from the end of interviews to I think it was mid-February is the time frame that we had to figure out our rank list, because you have to submit it a month before match day, and match day is it's mid-March. I think this year it was March 18th. So that was a really agonizing 2 months, and it seems like it wouldn't be, just because it seems like it would be simple, but it's really not. Just weighing all the pros and cons of all the programs, from location to the type of program to how many years the programs were, because some of them, for emergency medicine, there are a mixture of 3 and 4 year programs, and there are pros and cons to 3 and 4 year programs, and we just, personally for us, we kind of lean more towards 3-year programs because Ethan is interested in doing a 2-year critical care fellowship. Just that having that extra year that we would be done sooner was important to us. So our rank list changed a ton over that 2-month span. We originally were thinking, oh, we want to go to Texas. Texas sounded like a nice place. But then we decided that we really wanted to be closer to home and that would be important to us. And then one of our huge considerations was we were looking at what kind of quality of life we would have for that 3 or 4 years wherever we were going to be. And one of the considerations that we were looking at was schedules. Now, programs change a lot. As far as scheduling goes, some you do 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, and the number of shifts per month varies. Now, overall, emergency medicine has kind of like a lower, they work less than, say, surgery or internal medicine. So I was happy for that. But it definitely, the schedules vary a lot from program to program. And so that was one of the considerations that we were looking into, because if we weren't seeing him very much, then that's just sucks, and that's not something that we were really interested in doing. So I mentioned before that Ethan really liked the program that he did an away rotation at here in Chicago, and we weren't really considering that at all because we were looking to get out of Chicago, and it honestly was I think just a mindset where from the very beginning, when we even were first married, and we were before he'd even started medical school, we kind of had this mindset where, okay, we're going to go somewhere for 4 years and then move somewhere else for 4 years. So I think we were just kind of had that in our heads, and we're planning on moving, out of state, out of Illinois again. But he really liked that program, and one of the other reasons, I guess, that we weren't really considering staying here is that the rent prices are just ridiculous and really are not that feasible for having a family and the salary that he would receive in residency. So we kind of just wrote it off for a while, and then when we were getting close to having to submit our rank list, he kind of looked at the program again, and he was like, I really like that program, and he found himself comparing all the other programs to this program in Chicago. And so we started actually looking at purchasing a home, and found that it was much more feasible to purchase a home and much less expensive monthly, obviously, to do that. So we decided to rank the program here in Chicago first, which is so funny because I just didn't even think about that. I didn't think that we would be staying in Chicago, and I really was hoping to get closer to home. But even if we were closer, it would still be a plane ride, and that's one of the things that we came back to. So match day came along, and we were all so excited. And we ended up getting our first choice, and we were so excited. Definitely was an answer to prayer, and we ended up, let's see, the rest of the year for Ethan was pretty easy, the rest of medical school anyways, and he ended up having all of May and most of June completely off, so that was so nice just to get some time in as a family before the crazy hectic schedule started with residency, and there was also some house projects that we needed to get done. But now we are pretty much settled, and like I said, Ethan is 2 months into residency, and he absolutely loves it. He loves the program that he's in. He just loves the experience that he's getting, and it's definitely a really good environment for him. So there is kind of a whirlwind summary of our last year. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'd be happy to answer anything. If you have any specific questions, I can ask Ethan. I'd love to do a video with him, but he's just so busy, and when we have time, we really just try to spend it as a family. But if you have any questions, leave them below. I'm hoping to be a little bit more active on this channel. I have a couple ideas of some videos to do. But if you'd like to see a video on a certain something about medical school or residency or anything like that, just comment below or message me, and yeah. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.